right, in this segment, we've all recently played a game that is alleged to be the new hotness, but we'll be the judge of that. And today's game is Comic Hunters. That's right, it came out a couple of years ago from released in Brazil, but it is completely. Oh, see, okay. Do I need to wait for?
Go ahead.
Paris
I'm sorry.
To talk there. Okay,
You're fine.
so this game was hot 2 years ago in Brazil, but now it just got released here at Gen Con, or during Gen Con, because you could pick it up at Barnes & Noble even at the same time. But this game is wonderful, but let's go take a look on how to play.
Comic Hunters is played over 3 rounds. Each round is segmented into 3 different drafts, followed by organizing your collection. The board over here shows you the 4 different drafts that will occur throughout the game, with the convention draft happening every round. The goal of drafting the cards is collecting different types of comic books. Different characters will give you more points based on how many you've actually received. You can also get points based on the number of collections you have created. So if you've got all 8 heroes, you can get 40 points. You're also looking for types of comics, not just the heroes, but whether or not it's a first appearance, or a new look, or a hero versus somebody. The 4 drafts are the following. The first is where you get 4 cards, you pick one and pass the rest to your opponent. Then your opponent passes you 3, and you pick another one and pass another 2 over, and you go that till everyone has received 4 cards. The second draft you will have 4 different lines of comics. On your turn, you will either take up to 4 comics from a row, or you'll take a new one, flip it over, and place it in one of the existing rows. So now the next person goes, they can take these 2, or they can flip another one. Once you flip the card, you have to place it. You can't take it until your next turn. The third draft is the online auction. You all have a secret stash of 15 victory points. So you can spend those 15 victory points to buy one of these lots of comics. When it's your turn, you will put one up to bid. You'll say, I want to put this row up for bid, and you will say, I'm going to bid 5. This goes around till everybody passes. Whoever bid the most will get the entire row. You do that till all the rows are gone. The last draft is the convention draft. This one works kind of like a slide puzzle. On your turn, you move 1 card over, and then you take every hero in that row, or in a row. In this case, I'll take those 2. In a later turn, you could even move this Black Widow all the way over here, and then take all the Black Widows in that row or column. This one's a snake draft, so whoever goes first will get first pick and last pick, and if you get last pick, you get 2 picks in a row. At the end of 3 drafting rounds, you will have a collection. It is your job to buy this collection and put it into play. You're going to do that by using the currency on each of the cards. So this card would cost 3 to play, but it also generates 3 money. So I could say I'm going to discard that card so that I can put these 3 Doctor Strange cards into play. Then I could say I wanted these 3. Now let's say I wanted these 3 Black Widow cards. That's 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I would need to come up with 7 money in my hand. So I'd get rid of these 3 and this 1. I could keep 2 in my hand, so I'm going to keep that in for the next round. These 4 are discarded, and now these have entered my collection permanently. Then when the game is over, if you have 8 to 11 Doctor Strange comics, you would get 24. If you had 12 Spider-Man comics, you would get 32, and so forth. You would also score for the number of collections you have, so that's for each unique hero set of comics you've had. And then you will also score down here, and these are for your different types of comics, first appearances, new looks, and such. At the end of 3 rounds, whoever has the most victory points is the winner of Comic Hunters.
All right. Well, there we go. That's a quick overview of how to play Comic Hunters. Guys, just let me tell you about this game. I am a Marvel fanboy. If you didn't know that yet, news to you, right? So when this game...
First time, then.
That's right. When this game was announced and it was like, hey, here's a game with these actual comic book covers on it, it was a must buy. There was no way that I wasn't going to get that game. And a good friend of ours actually went out of his way and actually got it to me. So I have the Brazilian edition, and that's the one we've all played, but I'm pretty positive it's the same as the American edition. And this game just rings for me. Not only is the theme there, but also the actual drafting mechanic. This game has, I like to compare it to Modern Art, which is like this game about auctions, and there's like 5 different auctions. This is the modern art of drafting games. There are these several different drafts that are in there, and some of them are basic, but they're so but the ones that are like fun to do are just awesome. Like the snake draft one, you have a 5x5 grid and you move one card, and that allows you to take all of the characters in one row. And I just love that draft to the point where I was like, I kind of want to see a game completely around that scenario. It's just and also the other really cool thing about this game is how the first player is actually divvied out. So you at the end of the turn round, you actually get to decide who the first player is, and that's important because if it just went around the table, then you might get a little bit of the shaft. But because it gets passed along, you actually have to position like, when do I want to go first in this form of draft? So in the snake draft, you might want to go last. So if I pass it to the person who like if I pass it in round one to the person who would end up going second in the draft, they might pass it back to me so that I end up going first in the draft. So like I don't really want to do that. So you're always trying to decide where that first player is going. I don't know. This is a very unique game. I'm glad it's here in America to purchase now, and you just need to try this out. Really great game.
So you're saying it's hot? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying it's hot.
Because
Saying it's better than hot.
Daniel kind of blew over what we do in this segment, but it's hot or not. So we're going to say whether it's hot or it's not. Remember that, Daniel? Remember that's how we.
Yeah, I thought they'd pick up on it from the name.
Okay, I think I'm next. Yes, I don't know where to start with this game, to be honest with you, because I love it and yet I'm disappointed by it. Because yes, Daniel has the Brazilian version. Disappointing that you can't read a word of it. And it's also disappointing with the component quality. There's the good thing about this game is the pictures on the cards. And that's what makes it for me. It harkens me back to my teenage and early 20 years where I'm collecting these comics, I'm reading these comics, and I'm recognizing all of them. Oh, yeah, I remember that one. I remember when that one came out. I remember when I had that one. I remember that. And to me, that's the excitement of this game.
1954 or whatever.
Say they were in color back then?
Whatever. And so that is the excitement for this game. The card quality is bad. The component quality of everything else is bad. The little things you punch out are tiny and minuscule and they're bad. And it's everything else about it is bad. And if this was a game about collecting ingredients to make a recipe, if this was a game about collecting parts to make a car, I would be a hard pass, because it's collecting comic books that I already know about and that I love and that I treasure, and that I'm thinking, hey, it'd be so easy to come out with expansions. Am I right? I mean, just add another hero and a whole set of cards for them. And there you go. Boom. How easy would that be? Because of that, it's hot for me. But if you're not into Marvel, I don't see how it's going to be hot for you, because if it was another theme, the drafting would be okay. And I'd be like, whatever. I really, it's the excitement to me is the art on the cards. I've never, and as much of a theme guy as I am, this is the most specific I've been about something that I'm that excited about, that because I'm going to buy this game. Don't get me wrong, but I'm very disappointed that the American version that's coming out here is the same bad component quality. So it was just in English though, but at least that's a good thing. At least you have an English version. So yes, it's hot for me, but I can understand if somebody has no interest in it whatsoever, because unless you are into Marvel, I don't see why you would like it. But that's what I got.
The mechanics are hot, man. This is a good game.
Okay,
you're weird.
If I don't care what I'm drafting, though, I don't.
Daniel likes hot mechanics.
That's
right.
That's what it is.
Yeah, I'll jump in here because I'm next, and that's how the
yes, tell us, Chris.
The clock works and going around the board. I'm trying to figure out a clever way to say that it's hot, but it's not. Not because it's not, but because it's already old. Like immediately, I'm now like, I'm glad I don't live in Germany, because these people will be dealing with this all the time. Like all these Americans, like, this game's so amazing because we just got it. Like, yeah, we've been playing it for like 6 years, bro. Like, I don't understand, right? So I played the Brazilian version since for a couple of years because we got an awesome friend that got it in, and yeah, the game's great. Like, it's fantastic. I don't even remember these. I mean, again, maybe it's just me being me and not caring about the the production value and stuff like that. But like, I had no feelings on there being bad production value with the Brazilian one. And was the Brazilian, or are you talking about specifically the American? Were you saying
both the
both?
same. They're both the same.
Right?
I think they're the
Yeah.
same.
They're both
Like,
the same.
I didn't get that at all. Like, and I can be critical. I mean, spoilers. I can be critical, right? But I can be critical of production value. Like when I do feel like cards are not like really cheap and not well put together and stuff like that. But I don't remember that at all. I don't remember that at all. Like
The cards were probably
granted, I'm
already
not-
sleeved when you played it.
What? I mean, maybe because it probably was Daniel
Yeah.
Capel, so
Yeah.
I suppose that's possible. Sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't remember that at all, and I don't even remember these tokens. So maybe it's been a while since I played it. Granted, but I really like the game. It was fantastic. Just like Daniel said, like it is kind of like modern art. While modern art's all about different types of auctions, this is just all different types of drafting. And like the theme means nothing to me because it wasn't essential. Like I know it does something for Daniel, but it could have been about space monkeys. Like that's the thing I always say. Like there's no need for the theme. You're just drafting mechanics, so to speak, and it's fantastic. Like it's one of those games. It's like, hey, do you just want to do a bunch of different drafting in weird ways? Does that sound cool? You'll love this game. It's fantastic. It's hot. Unless drafting's not your thing, then it's absolutely not. So we'll find out if
True.
Andy likes drafting.
I want to draft space monkeys. I
I
want
mean, you
that game.
can.
How about sea monkeys? Sea monkeys
You know
would
what?
be good.
I bet there is. I bet there's. I mean, you would probably tell me that there's not, but I bet
Sea
there is a
monkeys in
comic
space.
out there about space monkeys
Sea
because
monkeys
they
in
have every hero about everything out there. So
Fair.
Well, I'll wrap this up with this. We actually had this on a Play Shelf trade a while back, and I ripped into it pretty good, just because I didn't think it was anything unique. I gave it another play over the weekend, and I will say I improved my outlook on it a little bit, but I'm still not going to go so far as to say it's hot. So it's still in a not. If you remember the old Hot or Not website, I believe it was a ranking of 1 to 10. We're going to give this one a 4.57, okay?
Wow.
4.57.
That's specific.
Well, okay, because if it's 5 or greater, it's hot. If it's less than 5, it's not. So it's just on the not side. This is
but
not
it's 4.57, which rounds up to 4.6, which rounds up to 5.
Okay, whatever. Anyway, don't get this confused with BGG rankings because that's a totally different thing. BGG rankings, you might as well not have 1 through 5 because anyway, 1 through 4 just means it's terrible. But that's not what I meant. What I meant though is that it's just barely on the side of not hot. I enjoyed the drafting. I enjoyed, and the theme actually started to come together a little bit for me. And Daniel actually put it great in our game. I'm surprised he didn't say this, so I'm going to steal his thunder and pretend like it's my idea. But if you're trading comic books and stuff, it is kind of cool. You're drafting. So it is a set collection of a collectible item. So that's kind of cool. That's kind of meta. But Daniel made a good point that it doesn't make a ton of sense because you use comics to buy comics, and some of the comics you have are like really rare first edition comics, and you have to use those to pay for something newer. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because it should be worth a lot more on that scale of things. It doesn't thematically add up. Did I get that right, Daniel? Is that basically what you
Yeah.
were
So
trying to say
like
with it?
value wise, it's spot on. You know, the 1963 comic book should be a lot more valuable, but
Sure.
the game rewards you selling that comic to buy the ones that just came out.
Right,
because
right.
that's how you're going to rack up the points because it's the number of because you need like 12 this isn't board games, Chris. This is comic books. Comic books are a whole different category of collection where you want the old game, you want these old comic books. There's value in it.
No, it's called materialism is what it's called. It's called them wanting you to get rid of your old crap and buy the new crap for materialistic, capitalistic reasons is what it is.
New hotness.
Yeah.
So
Now, okay, there we go. We need to retheme this with board games, and then it makes 100% sense. Get rid of that old UA game and buy Patchwork, which is
That would be
actually kind
good.
of old now too.
It's
But
old
still.
for him, yeah.
But I got to point out, well, Chris, of all people, he said that this game is not new. I mean,
It's
this came out
I
just a
know.
couple of years ago, Chris. I mean, I thought this was like the newest type of game you would play. So mark this day in history. Andy played a co-op of Sentinels in the Multiverse, and Chris declared this game as old
Too
garbage.
old. Too old for Chris.
Fair. It's
All
fair.
All right, guys. Well, that is our quick look at Comic Hunters. Most of us really enjoyed it. Overall, I think we say it's mostly hot, though I guess if you're not a fan of comic books, the four of us overall would agree it's not. But they're all wrong. I'm right. Buy this game. It's wonderful. Let us know if you've played it and what you think of it. And of course, always give us a subscribe. We really appreciate it.